In Nigeria, I have seen and heard things that are genuinely crazy and insane. From a man faking being crippled to gain sympathy during a trial, to claims of a snake swallowing billions of unaccounted funding. I've heard it all, but nothing truly shocked me. Like you can see, I'm numb to it, like I'm used to all of these things. We all know Nigeria is a corrupt place and there are lots of shameless people living among us. When I hear stories of corruption or any other wild incidents, sincerely, I'm used to it all. But this story right here is one of the few times that I've actually been shocked. From the beginning to the end, I was utterly flabbergasted. Unless you're living under a rock, you should know what I'm talking about. The issue between Senator Natasha and Senate President Godwill Akpabio. In order to understand the situation, let's rewind. February 20th, 2025. Senator Natasha found out that her sitting arrangement in the Senate chamber has been changed without her knowledge. Furious, she began a tirade directed at our Senate President Godwill Akpabio.
Dismissed Senator Natasha, please, you are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges. Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the contempt of breach of privilege
Show me the
has
session
been
that allows suspension immediately.
For context about this nightclub incident she mentioned, a few months back, Senator Godwill Akpabio told Senator Natasha that she should stop acting as if she's in a nightclub.
Mr. President, we don't want it to be killed. We just want a bit of modification. We don't want the bill killed, but it should be slight modifications, sir. It's a necessary bill.
This is Senator Natasha in the chamber. You have to be recognized before you speak.
Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, we are not in a nightclub.
He did publicly apologize for the comments, to be fair. Okay, from the outside looking in, you might say that she's overreacting, or you might say that Godwill Akpabio actually has it against her, and the contempt or unfairness he was showing towards her was overflowing and finally boiled over on that day. But at this point, this was just a squabble between colleagues. It wasn't anything really serious until Senator Natasha went on an Arise TV interview and said that she had been sexually assaulted by Godwill Akpabio.
It started on the 8th of December 2023, which was a day before his birthday and my birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akwa Ibom because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends, we went to Akwa Ibom. And at first, we were at Ikot Ekpene. We were in his house in Ikot Ekpene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just three of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from us. Like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, "Do you like my house?" I said, "Of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste." He said, "Now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it." At that point, I just pulled away, and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant. But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me. And the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that inciting statements or not? And then the Senate president, too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate president now said, oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel. He has a chapel in his house as well. So while we were going to the chapel, we walked in silence and all. In February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of corrupt practice in Ajakuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. Each time the motion is listed, just before he takes it, he will say, oh, Senator Natasha, we can't take this motion because the board of the Senate does not accommodate it. Or he will speak on others and then let it drag so that just before the motion is taken, the time will be well spent. So he kept on doing that. I went to him in his office. He said, Senate President, you know how important this Ajakuta Steel Company to me is. You know how important it is to my people and to Nigerians. I've noticed that you have stepped down this motion. As a matter of fact, a number of senators told me, go and see him and plead with him so that he would take it. I was like, sir, please, why can't you take this motion? It's very important. It's been listed. Then it was listed the 3rd time and stepped down. He then said, Natasha, I'm the chief presiding officer of the Senate. You can enjoy a whole lot if you take care of me and make me happy. At that point, I said, sir, I'll pretend that I didn't hear this. He said, well, the ball is in your court. At the time my demotion was taken, it was the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency Barao, that actually sat. The Senate President stood up and walked out. So it was Senator Barao that actually took it.
Senator Natasha.
And from there, many other incidents happened.
Yeah.
She then filed a lawsuit against him. Okay, now it's time to wake up. This is serious now. On one hand, this is the Senate President of Nigeria. It is important that anyone who has that position is a person of high morals and also high integrity, because this is a serious accusation against him. Now, I cannot stress this enough, please. Before we continue, I am a firm believer of innocence until proven guilty. This is literally in our law. This is one of the foundations in which the law is based on. And I believe in these disputes, and anyone for that matter, the accuser and the person being accused should both be seen as right until time and evidence proves otherwise and show us who is the liar and who is telling the truth. Due diligence has to be applied. Now, hear me. Due diligence has to be applied. This is the whole moral of this video. Keep this in mind. Can we agree to that? Okay. Now, tell me why some people in Akwa Ibom held a rally in support of Senator Akpabio just days after Senator Natasha filed these lawsuits.
Not to disrespect our son again. He's so important to us. He's a precious son. He's a gold. He's a precious stone to Akwa Ibom. He's a precious stone to the women of Niger Delta. So we are telling her that should stop insulting our son. The women said that should be the first and the last for her harassing our son in a way which is not good. And the women of Akwa Ibom said we don't want that any longer.
This is insane. Why? Why would you do this? What made you do this? You took time out of your day to do this. You chose a side without any evidence at all. You just picked someone and believed his story, completely disregarding the fact that Senator Natasha could be saying the truth. Now, I'm not saying she is, but both sides need to be taken into account here. Not only this, but Senator Akpabio's wife sued Senator Natasha for 250 billion naira on a defamation case for, and I quote, lying and creating content for her personal gains. Listen, I understand the need to support your husband, but not like this. Like I said, due process has to be followed. There needs to be a trial. There needs to be a hearing. Both sides need to be taken into account for before you pick a side. This is what our law and multiple other countries is founded upon. Now, the next step was what actually busted my head.